Good morning, students. I hope you are revising your previous chapters. Today we are going to start a new chapter, which is capacitance. Now we have already studied electrostatics and current electricity. So in this chapter we are going to combine both the chapters, and we are going to borrow some of the concept from electrostatics and some of the concept from the current electricity, and then we have a new thing which is capacitor. So here the prior knowledge of electrostatics and current electricity is required. So I will advise you to go and revise electrostatics and then current electricity, so you can better understand this chapter. So now we are going to define what is capacitance. Capacitance, you can write the definition of capacitance. Suppose you have a conductor and you give some charge to this capacitor. Now this conductor cannot hold any amount of charge. There is a limited amount of charge which this capacitor can hold, that conductor can withhold. So if you give a charge q to the conductor, its potential is going to become V. So the charge given to a conductor cannot be anything, it depends on the what is the potential of the conductor. So this ability of the conductor to hold the electric charge is called as capacitor. So the definition of capacitance is ability of a conductor to hold electric charge is called as capacity or capacitance. Ability of conductor to hold electric charge is called as capacity or capacitance. So both are same thing, capacity or capacitance, you can use them interchangeably. Now next thing is a device which is called as capacitor. So in previous class you have already seen a device called battery, and you have seen another device which is resistance. Similarly, there is one more device which you can use in the electric circuit, which is called as capacitor. So just now we have defined a defined a thing called capacitance. Similarly, we can define capacitor as a device which holds the charge is called as capacitor, or another name for this one is condenser. So a capacitor is a device which holds the charge is called as capacitor or condenser. So these are the basic definition which you should know, capacitance and what is capacitor. Now let us see what is the brief overview of this chapter is. I am going to give you an outline for this chapter. So first we are going to study about capacitor. So in capacitor we are going to study three kind of capacitor. One will be spherical capacitor, second one will be parallel plate, and third one will be your cylindrical capacitor. So we are going to study three kind of capacitor. One will be spherical capacitor, second one will be parallel plate, and third one will be cylindrical capacitor. After studying about the capacitors, we are going to use this capacitor in the circuit. So here we are going to study circuit problems involving the capacitor. Now again, in circuit problem we can divide those problems into three categories, where you have capacitor and battery problems. So we have some kind of circuit, in those circuit you will only have capacitor and you will have only batteries. Second type of circuit we are going to study, in that only capacitors will be there. So first kind of problems where there will be only battery and there will be capacitor only. Second type of problems where we are going to deal with multiple capacitors only, there will be no battery, there will be no resistance, nothing. And finally we are going to see the charging and discharging of capacitor. So as you can see, there are overall there are 6 topics which you need to go through in out of those 6 topics, this parallel plate capacitor, capacitor and battery problems and capacitor problems, these 3 are important. So these 3 problems you should be able to identify. After completing this chapter, you should be able to identify problems which comes from these 3 topics, because problems from these 3 topics will be maximum in number and they are very easy comparative to spherical capacitor, cylindrical capacitor and charging and discharging. So this is the brief overview of the chapter. Now let us again come back to the topic of capacitance and capacitor. So again I will repeat it once again. Capacitance is the ability of the material to hold the charge, and the device which holds the charge is called as capacitor or condenser. Now let us find out the formula for capacitance. As I have already told you, suppose there is a conductor, and if the potential of the conductor is V, the charge on the charge on the conductor will be Q. So I can say charge on the charge on the conductor is directly proportional to the potential of the conductor. So the charge on a conductor is directly proportional to the potential. If I remove the proportionality constant, I will get a constant which is I am going to call it C. So this is called as capacitance. So charge on a charge on a condenser is directly proportional to the potential of the conductor. Remove the proportionality constant, you will get another constant. Remove the proportionality sign, you will get a constant. That constant is called as capacitance. You have seen similar thing in current electricity also, where you have seen that the current in a circuit is directly proportional to the potential, where you can write this thing as V divided by R. So as you can see, this formula is very similar to the previous formula. So charge is directly proportional to the potential of the conductor, and here C is called as capacitance. Now from here we can find the unit of capacitance. C can be written as Q divided by V. The unit of charge is coulomb and unit of potential is volt. Coulomb, and this will be volt. So the unit of capacitance is coulomb per volt. There is a name given to this unit which is called as Faraday. So capacitance is defined as ratio of charge of the conductor and potential of the conductor, and unit of capacitance is Faraday or coulomb per volt. So this is the definition, formula and brief introduction about the capacitance and capacitor. Now we are going to study first capacitor, which is spherical capacitor. Now first in spherical capacitor we are going to study isolated sphere. So in isolated sphere, assume there is a sphere, a conducting sphere, and radius of this sphere is capital R. Initially there is no charge on the capacitor, there is no charge on this conductor. What I do is, from infinity I bring Q charge and give the charge to this conductor. So if I bring Q charge from that point and give to this one, here the charge on the conductor will be Q. And from electrostatics, you know, if the charge of a conductor is Q, the potential of the conductor can be written as KQ divided by R. So at infinity you know that potential is 0. At this point on the surface of the conductor, the potential is KQ by R and the charge on the conductor is Q, and we have defined capacitance as charge divided by the potential. Potential, as you know, that you cannot find the absolute potential. So you have to assume potential at some point 0. I have assumed at infinity the potential is 0. So at this point the potential will be kq by r. So the ratio of charge and potential will give me the capacitance. So from here you can see that C is equals to q divided by kq by r. This will come out to be r by k, and you know k is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. So which can be written as 4 pi epsilon naught r. So this is the capacitance of a spherical conductor. For a spherical conductor, the capacitance formula is very simple, which is 4 pi epsilon naught r. Here you know epsilon naught is permittivity of the free space and r is the radius of the conductor. From this you can see that capacitance does not depend on the charge, it does not depend on the voltage, because we have defined capacitance from this formula where we have seen that Q is directly proportional to V. If you increase the V, Q will also increase. So the ratio of Q and V will remain constant. So remember, capacitance does not depend on the charge, it does not depend on the potential, it depends on the size of the conductor, and it also depends on the medium in which the conductor is placed. It does not depend on the charge and it does not depend on the potential. So this is the capacitance of isolated sphere, which is 4 pi epsilon naught r. So now that we have found out the formula for capacitance of spherical conductor, let us now find out the capacitance of earth. So the question is, find capacitance of earth. Now as you know, earth is a spherical conductor. So for a spherical isolated conductor, the capacitance can be written as 4 pi epsilon naught r, or it can be also written as r divided by k. And r for radius, radius for earth you can take 6400 kilometers, which you can write as 64 into 10 to power 5 meters. Remember, when you are solving problem in physics, try to convert all the units in the SI units. Do not take radius as 6400 kilometer and put the value as 6400. First you have to convert this thing into meter. Now from here capacitance can be written as 64 into 10 to power 5 divided by value of k, which is 9 into 10 to power 9. So this will come out to be 7.11 into 10 to power minus 4, and unit will be Faraday. As you are keeping everything in the SI unit, so the final answer will also come out to me in the SI unit, and SI unit of capacitance is Faraday, and this you can write as 711 into 10 to power minus 6 Faraday, which is equals to 711 microfarad. Now as such this problem is very simple. Why I have done this problem? So you can get an idea of the capacitance of a conductor. Now as you know, earth is a very large conductor, and for earth the capacitance is 711 microfarad. For a conductor of the size of the earth, the capacitance is not be able to reach to a value of 1 farad, it is still in microfarad. So the unit Faraday for capacitance is a very large unit. So in practical terms we use microfarad or picofarad as the unit of microfarad and picofarad. Microfarad will be 10 to power minus 6 farad and picofarad will be 10 to power minus 12 farad as the unit of capacitor in the problems. Usually you will not find the capacitance value more than microfarad. So remember this thing, the capacitance the unit Faraday is a very large unit. Practical units are microfarad and picofarad for capacitance. Next is second part in spherical conductor will be enclosed conductor. Suppose you have a conductor, spherical conductor, radius of this conductor is A, and you have enclosed it with another conductor, and radius of this one will be B. So, in the first case we have seen a conductor, which spherical conductor, which was isolated. In the second case we are seeing there is a conductor which is enclosed by another conductor. So, radius of inner sphere is A, radius of outer sphere is B. So, if I transfer charge from this conductor to this conductor, the charge on this one will be plus Q. If you give the charge to the inner sphere as plus Q and the charge on this outer sphere here, the charge will be minus Q, and I am earthing the outer sphere of the second sphere. So, now you can see on this sphere the charge is minus Q, on this sphere the charge is plus Q, and I have to find the potential, I have to find the capacitance of this system. So, to find the capacitance, we know capacitance is Q divided by V. Now, here the charge is Q. Now, remember the charge you have transferred from this conductor to this conductor. So, do not take the charge as 0, charge you have to take as Q, because from here to here you have charge transferred is Q. So, remember this is the charge transferred to the conductor, and then V is the potential of the conductor. So, here the potential of this outer sphere, because it is earth, is 0. So, outer potential is 0. The potential of inner sphere, I can write, due to this plus Q charge the potential will be kq by A, and due to this outer sphere it will be minus kq by A, minus kq by B. As you know from electrostatics that if a conductor has a charge Q, the potential of this conductor will be kq by A, and due to this outer sphere potential inside will be minus kq by B. So, the total potential of this sphere will be kq by A minus kq by B. So, outer here potential is 0, here potential is kq by A minus kq by B. So, from here I can write potential is equals to kq 1 upon A minus 1 upon B. So, here this is the potential, this is charge given is Q. So, from here capacitance I can write C is equals to Q divided by kq 1 upon A minus 1 upon B. If I simplify this Q will cancel out, this will be AB into B minus A. So, the capacitance will become B minus A, it will become AB divided by K times B minus A. Again you can still see the potential, capacitance does not depend on the charge, it does not depend on the potential, it only depends on the medium, it depends on the size of the conductor and how much one depend on the presence of the another conductor. As you can see here the potential, here this term has multiplied by B divided by B minus A. So, here capacitance has increased. So, capacitance depends on the medium, it depends on the size of the conductor, and it also depends on the presence of the another conductor. So, for a spherical conductor there are two cases for a capacitor. One is isolated capacitor. Isolated capacitor capacitance is 4 pi epsilon naught R or R divided by K, and capacitance of enclosed conductor is AB divided by K B minus A, where A is the radius of the inner sphere and B is the radius of the outer sphere. So, now you have got an idea how to find the capacitance of a spherical conductor. To find the capacitance of a spherical conductor, find the potential of the spherical conductor, find the charge on the spherical conductor and take the ratio of it, you will find the capacitance of the spherical conductor. Next, most important topic, which is parallel plate capacitor. Now what do we mean by parallel plate capacitor? Here there will be two conductors, two conducting plates which are parallel to each other. So here this kind of setup is called as parallel plate capacitor. So we are going to find the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Again remember, capacitance does not depend on the charge of the capacitor, it does not depend on the potential of the capacitor, it depends on the shape, size and the medium of the capacitor. So I am going to take the bird eye view of the plates. So I have one conducting plate like this and another conducting plate like this. So if I transfer q charge from this plate to this plate, charge on this plate will be plus q and charge on this plate will be minus q. Suppose the area of both the plate is A and the distance between these two plates is d. So distance between two plates is d, area of the plate is A. I have transferred a charge q from here this plate to this plate, so charge on this plate will be minus q, charge on this plate will be plus q. Now let us find out the capacitance for parallel plate capacitor. To find the parallel plate capacitor capacitance, what I need to do, first I have to find the charge on the plate. So here charge transferred is plus q, so charge I have found out. Now I have to find the potential of the plates. So here I have to find the potential difference between these two plates. So let us find out the potential difference between these two plates. As you can see, charge on this plate is q, so charge density on this plate is sigma, I can write plus q divided by A, and the charge density on this one will be minus sigma, which is minus q by A. So charge density here is minus, charge density here is plus. Now due to this plus charge, here the direction of electric field will be in this direction, which you already know is sigma divided by 2 epsilon. Electric field due to a single sheet, to do this sheet the electric field will be sigma divided by 2 epsilon. Similarly, due to this minus sign, minus charge, the electric field will be again in this direction, which will be sigma divided by 2 epsilon. So here the total electric field E is equals to sigma by epsilon naught. Similarly, at this point the electric field due to this positive charge will be in this direction and due to this negative charge will be in this direction. So here total electric field will be 0. Similarly, here also electric field due to this positive charge will be away from the charge and due to negative charge will be towards the charge. So the total electric field here also is a 0. So remember, electric field between the capacitor plates is a sigma by epsilon naught, electric field outside the capacitor plates is a 0. So I don't need to worry about this part of the universe. Here electric field is 0, here also electric field is 0. Electric field is only present between the plates, which is sigma by epsilon naught and which is constant in magnitude also, it is also constant in direction also. So here I can write charge density is q divided by A, electric field between the capacitor plate is sigma by epsilon naught. As you can see, this electric field is constant in magnitude also and direction also. Here the direction of electric field will be from positive charge to negative charge. Now if the electric field is constant, the potential difference for a distance d can be written as electric field into the distance. So here potential difference between these two plates, I can write V is equals to sigma by epsilon naught into d. So here the potential difference will be sigma into d divided by epsilon naught and the charge here is q. So I know the charge on the plates, I know the potential of the plate. So from here I can find the capacitance. So capacitance will be q divided by sigma d epsilon naught. From here you can see q is equals to sigma into A, so q can be written as sigma into A, so sigma will cancel out and the capacitance will come out to be C is equals to epsilon naught A divided by d. So this is the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Again you can see that this does not depend on the charge, this does not depend on the potential, it only depends on the size, which is area. It also depends on the distance between these two plates, which is the presence of another conductor, and it also depends on the medium. So for a parallel plate capacitor, the capacitance is epsilon naught A by D. You have to remember other formulas also which is what is the electric field between the capacitor plates. Electric field between these two capacitance plate is sigma by epsilon naught, and outside the capacitor the electric field is 0, and the potential difference between these two plate is sigma D divided by epsilon naught. So you have to remember these three formulas for a parallel plate capacitor. So till now we have done three kind of capacitor. In a spherical capacitor we have done two cases of spherical capacitor. One was isolated capacitor, second one was enclosed capacitor. Second kind of capacitor is parallel plate capacitor. So parallel plate capacitor, we have seen two plates which are parallel to each other, that's why it is called as parallel plate capacitor. So for a parallel plate capacitor, the capacitance is epsilon naught A by D, which does not depend on the charge and does not depend on the potential. Now from this we have derived the symbol for capacitor also. So in current electricity you have seen that the symbol for battery is two parallel lines. This denotes the positive terminal of the battery, this denotes the negative terminal of the battery. Similarly you have seen the resistance also. So this is the symbol for battery, this is the symbol for resistance. And by the configuration of parallel plate capacitor, we have also derived the symbol for capacitance, which is two parallel lines. Now again pay attention, here one line is large, one is small. So here the symbol for battery is two lines which are different length, but a symbol for capacitor, two lines which are of the same length. Another symbol for capacitor which can be used is this, one straight line and another curved line. This line denotes the positive plate of the capacitor and this denotes the negative plates of the capacitor. So remember the symbol for capacitor. You should not confuse between the symbol for battery and the capacitor. Battery one small, one large, one small, one large. For capacitor both of them will be same, or one will be straight and another one will be curved. Curved surface denotes the negative plate of the parallel plate capacitor. So this is the symbol for capacitor. Now remember parallel plate capacitor, the formula for capacitance is epsilon naught A divided by D. Here epsilon naught is the medium between the plates, D is the distance between the plates, and A is the area of the plates. I have drawn the plates which were square or rectangle in the shape, but the plates can be of any shape. They can be circular also, they can be rectangle also, they can be triangle also, but the formula for capacitance for a parallel plate capacitor will be epsilon naught A by D. Remember, a parallel plate capacitor is capacitor where two plates are parallel to each other. These plates can be triangle also, they can be circular also. So for those kind of plates you have to use the formula epsilon naught A by D. Do not worry about what will be the electric field, what will be the potential, you can assume them to be a infinite plates. So capacitance will be epsilon naught A by D. If you increase the area, capacitance will increase. You increase the distance between the plates, capacitance will decrease. Now we were talking till now we have said that if you want to find the capacitance of a capacitor, simply find the charge on the capacitor, then find the potential of the capacitor, and you can find the capacitance of the capacitor. but who charges, the question comes, who gives the charge to the capacitor, who transfers the charge from one plate of the capacitor to another plate of the capacitor. This job is done by the battery. So battery basically takes the charge from one plate of the capacitor to the another plate of the capacitor. Remember when I derived the formula for this, I said you have transferred the charge Q from this plate to this plate. So you did not do anything. What you did, you simply connected a battery, and you know that when you use a battery, battery creates a potential difference. So battery has created a potential difference across these plates by transferring charge Q from this here. So the charge Q flows through the battery like this and it deposits here. So here the charge will become plus Q, here the charge will become minus Q. So when I say charge is transferred by you, you are not doing anything, the battery is doing this thing. So you connect a battery to these two plates. After some time, one of the plates will have minus charge and another plate will have positive charge, and this is a capacitor which is holding the charge. So here battery is doing some work. So now we are going to talk about the work and energy in the capacitor. So in previous class you have already found out the work done by the battery. Suppose there is a battery. You know that this is called as negative terminal which has a lower potential, and this is a positive terminal which is called as high potential. And the voltage of the battery is V, which means if this potential is 0, this potential will be V. And if charge Q is moved from the battery from lower potential to higher potential, the work done by battery can be written as Q into V. Here Q is the charge transfer through the battery and V is the potential, this is small q. So here work done by battery is charge into the potential difference of the battery. How much charge has flown through the battery multiplied by the voltage of the battery, you will get the work done by the battery. So in the previous problem, when you are charging a capacitor, the work done by battery will be Q into V. So this is basic revision of your current electricity. As I told you that this chapter uses the concept from the electrostatics also, it also uses the concept from the current electricity. So revise electrostatics and current electricity and electrostatics, both the chapters. Now next heading is energy stored in the capacitor. Suppose you have one plate of the capacitor and another plate of the capacitor. Initially both the plates have zero charge. So if the charge is 0, the potential of those two plates is also 0, because we have seen potential can be written as sigma by epsilon naught into d. So if the charge is 0, the potential will also be 0. Now what I am doing is initial charge I can write at t is equals to 0, initial charge is 0. So the potential is also 0. Now what am I doing is I am transferring the charge from this plate of the capacitor to this plate of the capacitor. So at a particular time t, here I have transferred the q charge. So here the charge will be minus q, on this plate the charge will be plus q. So till time t is equals to t, I have transferred the charge q. Now if you are transferring the charge q, I am assuming the potential of the plates, potential between the plates has become V. So here q charge is transferred from one plate to another plate. So in this much time the potential of the plates has become V. Now if I want to transfer further charge dq, as this dq is positive, so I have to do work against this positive charge also, this negative charge also. So the work done to move this dq charge from this plate to this plate will be dq into V. As we have seen that if you are taking a charge from one potential to another potential, the work done will be charge multiplied by the potential difference. So here I am assuming potential difference is V. So the work done to move this dq charge from this plate to this plate is dq into V. Now as the capacitance does not depend on the charge and it does not depend on the potential, I can write capacitance will be q by V, and from here I can write V is equals to q divided by C. As you know that here both charge as well as potential are variable on the capacitor, so I cannot do the integration here. So I have to replace V in terms of q. So from here I can write work done to remove this dq charge will be q divided by C into dq. So this is the work done to move this dq charge from this plate to this plate. If I want to find the total work done will be to move the charge from here to here, which is initially charge is 0, finally the charge will be q, and here this integration will become w. So the total work done will be integration from 0 to q divided by C into dq. This I can write w is equals to, as C is constant, then the integration of q will be q square by 2. So I can write this thing as q square divided by 2C, from initial charge to final charge. From here the work done will be q square divided by 2C. So here you can see the work done by you to move this charge q charge from one plate to another plate is q square by 2C. So initially the charge on the plates was 0, finally the charge on the plate is capital Q. So to total work done by you to move this total charge Q is q square by 2C. So work done by external agent is q square by 2C, and we have seen in electrostatics that work done by external agent is stored as the potential energy of the system. So here this much energy is stored in the capacitor. So the energy stored in the capacitor will also have the same value, which is q square by 2C. So here the potential energy stored in the capacitor can be written as q square divided by 2C. From here q divided by C can be written as V. We have seen C is equals to q divided by V. From here I can write q by C is equals to V. So this term can be written as qV divided by 2. Similarly, the term Q can be written as CV, which is again equals to CV square by 2. So the energy stored in a capacitor can be written as q square divided by 2C or qV by 2 or CV square by 2. Now again, who does this work? We have seen that this work is done by the battery. So initially you have a capacitor which is discharged, or there is no charge on this one, and you connect it to a battery. What this battery will do? This battery will take q charge from here. So here charge will be minus q. This q charge will transfer through the battery and it will deposit on this plate. So this charge will be plus q. So here how much energy is stored in the capacitor? Energy stored in the capacitor is q square by 2C or qV divided by 2 or CV square by 2. One of the formula you have to use depending on what are the two quantities given. Now if I ask you what is the work done by battery, here work done by battery you can write Q. Total charge transfer through the battery is Q, then the potential of the battery is V. So the work done by battery can be written as Q into V. So as you can see, work done by battery is Q into V, but energy stored in the capacitor is QV by 2. Where is the remaining energy? Total work done by battery is Q into V, but energy stored is only half of it. So remaining of energy is gone into the heat. So here there will be some heat also produced, and the value of heat will be energy provided by the battery is equals to potential energy of the capacitor plus heat. So here you can write work done by battery is equals to potential energy of the capacitor plus heat, and from here heat produced will be QV by 2. So remember this important result: when you are charging a capacitor, half of the energy produced half of the energy to charge the capacitor is gone into the heat, only half of the energy is stored in the capacitor. So this is the energy of the capacitor, work done by battery, and the heat produced when you are charging a capacitor from 0 charge to charge Q. So let me summarize whatever we have done till now. We have defined a quantity called capacitance. The formula for capacitance is Q by V. This formula is valid for any kind of any kind of conductor. After that, we have seen spherical capacitor. In a spherical capacitor, we have seen isolated and we have seen enclosed. The capacitance of isolated sphere is 4 pi epsilon naught r, or r divided by k, and capacitance of enclosed capacitor is AB divided by k times B minus A, where B is the outer radius and A is the inner radius. Next, we have done parallel plate capacitor. In parallel plate capacitor, first we have found out the formula for capacitance, which is epsilon naught A divided by D, and we have also found out the formula for electric field, which is sigma divided by epsilon naught. Between the plates and outside the plate it is 0, and potential difference between the plate is sigma divided by epsilon naught into D. Then we have found out the energy stored in the capacitor. Energy stored in the capacitor can be written as half CV square or Q square by 2C or Q into V divided by 2. And last thing we have seen is work done by battery. Work done by battery is Q into V, and remaining energy is produced as heat. So heat produces QV divided by 2. So these are the formulas till now we have seen. Spherical capacitor and parallel plate capacitor, most important, remember parallel plate capacitor. In parallel plate capacitor, all the formulas you should remember by heart. Every time you are going to use this or this formula, maximum time you need to use these two formulas to solve maximum of the problem. So again revise this thing. In the next class we will continue. We will find the force between the capacitor plates, and then we are going to see what happens if you keep a dielectric medium between the capacitor plates. With this I will stop here and I will see you in the next class. Thank you.